Most people explain this too simply. You finish dinner at 8 p.m., hit start on your fasting app, and wake up the next morning proud that your body's finally burning through its fat reserves. But it isn't. In reality, 12 hours after your last meal, your cells haven't even fully registered that you stopped eating. That sounds harmless, but it changes the whole mechanism. The biggest mistake people make with fasting is assuming the biological clock starts the second they swallow their last bite. Think of your metabolism like a business that runs on two completely different energy tanks, a checking account and a time-locked vault. The food you just ate is the checking account. It's circulating in your bloodstream and stored in your liver as glucose, just like highly liquid, immediate cash. Your stored body fat, however, is the time-locked vault. As long as there is easy money sitting in the checking account, your body will absolutely refuse to turn the dial to open the vault. If you force yourself to skip breakfast, your checking account empties out. But because your insulin levels are still elevated from yesterday's meals, the fat vault remains locked shut. Suddenly, your brain has no access to either fuel source. That energy gap is exactly why you feel tired, foggy, and starving. Your fasting app might say you are 12 hours in, but your body isn't fasting yet. It is just trapped in a waiting phase, waiting for a specific hormone called insulin to finally drop so it can open the vault. Sounds simple? It is not. Over the next few minutes, we are going to track the exact timeline of what happens inside your tissue when the food stops and insulin finally crashes. We will document the moment the vault opens, observe the microscopic cleanup crews recycling your damaged cells, and go all the way to hour 72, where a biologically controlled burn initiates a massive cellular reset. But none of those deep healing processes trigger until you clear that 12-hour hurdle. Between hour 14 and 16, a profound biological shift takes place. Your insulin levels drop low enough that the fat vault finally clicks open. Your body stops burning the food you ate yesterday and taps directly into your stored body fat. But burning fat is just the beginning. Because you aren't actively digesting a heavy meal, your body suddenly has a massive amount of free energy. Instead of spending this energy on digestion, your body redirects it. And this redirected energy is exactly what enables your system to trigger a deep biological cleanup process around the 16-hour mark, known as autophagy. Literally translated, autophagy means self-eating. In practice, it is the process where cells break down and recycle damaged internal parts. Without constant food coming in, your cells act like an internal cleanup crew. They sweep through your tissue, searching for damaged proteins, aging cell components, and accumulated metabolic waste. They dismantle these broken, inefficient parts and recycle them into new cell bodies. Or they feed this waste directly into your mitochondria, the power plants of your cells, converting it into available body energy. This is a massive biological win. Your body literally recycles its own internal trash into free, clean energy. From this point on, you feel more capable because you are suddenly no longer dependent on your next meal. This is where the usual advice becomes too shallow. Viewing fasting purely as a weight loss tool completely misses the point. If you are constantly eating, your body never gets a break to clean up inside. Cellular waste that cannot be broken down simply accumulates, driving premature aging, chronic fatigue, and full body sluggishness. By the time you reach hour 18, your brain starts playing a trick on you. You feel a massive surge of hunger, and you naturally assume a linear progression. If I am this hungry right now, hour 24 is going to be absolutely unbearable. That is the trap. The fear of escalating hunger causes most people at this point to break the fast early. But this is a physiological illusion. Hunger does not work like a staircase that climbs endlessly upward. It acts more like an ocean wave. Your body releases a hunger hormone called ghrelin precisely at the times you usually eat every day. It surges, creating a strong biological urge to open the fridge. But here is the secret mechanism. If you just ride it out and don't eat, the ghrelin wave breaks and recedes back out to sea. The hunger naturally fades away on its own, even if you put zero food into your system. Right as that wave washes out, around hour 18 to 20, a dramatic metabolic shift happens. Your liver formally recognizes that the checking account is entirely empty and no incoming food is going to provide nourishment. So it takes the fat releasing from the vault and synthesizes it into highly specialized, hyper-efficient fuel capsules called ketones. Unlike bulky fat molecules, ketones slip effortlessly across the blood-brain barrier. This is the uncomfortable part. Until this point, you felt foggy and lethargic. But the exact moment those ketones hit your brain, you feel a sudden, undeniable shift in your mental clarity. The irritability you felt at the 12-hour mark completely evaporates. Your brain starts running on premium fuel. Without warning, you feel sharper, calmer, and more intensely focused than you have in months. This is the part that usually gets skipped. When you cross the 24-hour mark, that internal cleanup crew from hour 16 gets heavily upregulated. It shifts away from making superficial repairs and starts actively breaking down deep-seated cellular waste and flushing it out of the body. At this stage, your entire gastrointestinal tract has been almost completely empty for hours. For perhaps the first time in years, your gut is no longer processing as many food components. Your body now finally has the capacity to repair its own intestinal lining. This triggers a massive reduction in systemic inflammation. Think of chronic inflammation in the modern body like a radio tuned slightly off station. It constantly plays a low, irritating static noise in the background of your biology. You might not even recognize it as inflammation anymore. You just experience it as stiff joints in the morning, generalized puffiness, or unpredictable bloating after meals. At hour 24, your body reaches over and begins turning down the radio. The static begins to quiet down. Because your digestive system is essentially put on pause, inflammatory markers finally decrease. The relief in your gut and your joints becomes physically noticeable. Your system is finally experiencing a major biological cleansing process. As you move past the first night and the first day, you might ask yourself, since the checking account is empty, won't your body start burning your hard-earned muscle tissue to produce energy? This is where the body starts protecting the problem. When you reach the 48-hour mark, your body initiates a kind of survival mechanism that has kept humans alive for thousands of years. You might assume that withholding food for 2 days would force your body to burn its own muscles for energy. But evolution built a safeguard. Think about it logically. If our ancestors lost their muscle mass every time they couldn't find food, they would have been too weak for the next hunt. They would have died out. To prevent this, right around hour 48, your brain releases a massive wave of human growth hormone, often abbreviated as HGH. Clinical data shows that fasting can increase HGH production by up to 500%. This hormone acts as an invisible biological shield around your muscle tissue. It actively blocks muscle breakdown and sends a clear chemical signal to your body. Only burn stored body fat for fuel. So instead of wasting away, your muscles are protected from breaking down. By the end of day 2, your system is running purely on fat and ketones, your systemic inflammation is significantly reduced, and your muscles are not being broken down. You have reached a state of deep metabolic efficiency. When you reach the 72-hour mark, you cross a major biological threshold. Research suggests that, under the right conditions, a longer fast may start a deeper immune renewal signal. By day 3, your body realizes it needs to maximize its energy efficiency to survive. So it begins sorting out and breaking down the oldest, weakest, and most damaged immune cells now. As your body breaks down these old cells, it simultaneously signals your stem cells to wake up. If you break the fast now and start eating again, your body is able to absorb and utilize the fresh nutrition much better, using it to support the production of new white blood cells. You are essentially helping the body clear out older, weaker immune cells and prepare for renewal. That is what separates fasting from every other dietary approach. It does not just change what goes into your body, it changes what your body does with itself when nothing goes in at all.